Large florals can be intimidating, but what if you didn't need to spend hours colouring them?
Today I'm using these beautiful big flowers and I'm going to show you two easy ways to create modern style designs without taking a ton of time to colour them. When it comes to creating more of a modern style card and a floral in particular, I think colours are a really important place to start. And for something different today, I decided to work on some coloured cardstock. I chose the lighter one here because I thought that the darker one looked a bit more vintage than modern. But I did choose a lighter colour specifically because I know that I'm going to be able to ink blend it. It's not going to alter the colours too much. I'm choosing a combination of 3 colours today, and I'm doing this literally by just holding the inks over top of the cardstock that I've chosen until I'm kind of happy with the colour palette. I only wanted 3 colours, but you could do as many as you want and in any combination that you want. But I didn't test my colours, and you'll see why this becomes a problem soon. So this first card, the colour we're going to be adding is by ink blending some stripes. So what I've got here is some of the masking paper. So these are A4 sheets. If you don't have these, you can use copy paper or even post-it notes. Now I'm going to be doing some embossing, and I really don't want to be fighting with my embossing powder a little bit later on when I go to add it to my cardstock. So I am actually rubbing the tacky side of this masking adhesive sheets on my arm to make them less tacky. And I've got a great embossing hack to share with you, so stick around for that. All right, so I want to make a strip of stripes on the left side of my card front. Now I'm working on just an A2 piece of the coloured cardstock, and this masking paper, I can see through it here, so I can see that I've got my cardstock straight. If you can't see it, then you can always put a couple of tick marks onto the cardstock with a pencil. Just make sure that you erase them before you start ink blending, because sometimes you can't rub them off after. Now you can make your stripes as thin or as wide as you like. I often like to do a combination. You can actually make them all exactly the same size if you prefer. I'm using my sticky grid mat to help hold everything in place, and I'm also using a smaller, like a mini ink blending tool. When I find that when I'm colouring or adding ink blending to coloured cardstock, it seems to suck up a lot more ink and take a lot longer, so do be patient and remember that it will dry a bit lighter as it absorbs into the cardstock because it is a dye ink. Now don't throw your masks away because we're going to reuse these for all of our stripes. But my second stripe is going to be the green one, so I don't want to be mixing the pink ink with that. So I will flip my masking paper around and then add the green ink directly to the right of the first strip that we've already done. And of course you don't have to go down the modern track for this kind of style, even though it is more of a modern design with a graphic feel with the stripes. You could certainly change this up and use vintage colours, or you could even go very bold and use some even brighter colours. I've done it with even using like a thin black stripe before, and that really adds some punch. My final stripe is going to be the peach sort of orange colour, so I'm not too worried about mixing the pink with it here. But I was thinking that afterwards I could have used the bigger or the large ink blending tools, and I would have got a softer, more subtle look, and I think that would give the whole design like a totally different vibe. And if you can't decide or don't know what colours you could possibly mix together, you can simply search for it on the internet. Just search modern floral colours and you'll get a ton of ideas. I wasn't happy with the green. It just didn't look right to me, and I should have really tested my colours on the cardstock before I started. So what I did is just remasked the section off and came back in with a, like, it's almost like a blue, grey, green colour, and just changed the whole tone of the colour. And I think that really made a huge difference. And I promised I was going to share a hack with you because I want to do some embossing on this panel. And I know it's going to go pear-shaped because I've got ink that's still drying, and I've also used the masking paper which has that tack on it. So I'm deactivating the tack and using a powder tool, and I'm using a ton of it on this cardstock. But I don't trust it. So what I do is come in with some embossing powder and just tip it over top, and you can see there that it's obviously still wet along that green line. The other thing I could have done was wait, but I didn't. So I just come in again and keep adding the powder tool, and each time it gets a little bit better. But the other thing you can do is also dry your cardstock, and I've got a low setting on my heat tool. So you can either set it aside to dry a little bit longer, or hit it with a heat tool, or just keep using your powder bag or powder tool over the panel and testing it with the embossing powder until it doesn't stick. Sometimes it can take a little bit of time, but it's worth it. It saves on the cleanup a heap, because I'm going to be using gold embossing powder, and that one's a toughie to clean up. So I'm using the largest bloom over this panel and facing it more down the bottom angle. That gives me a couple of different options to put some sentiments. I could either put them near the lower portion or up on the upper portions of the card panel. I am using some embossing ink here. The tough thing with this is that you can't exactly see where you've stamped. So I find that if I look at it from the side, you can see a little bit of shine. Often I will come back in a second time, especially if it's a large stamp or a very intricate stamp. I will add a second layer of embossing ink if I'm using a stamp positioning tool. The other thing is, if you aren't going to emboss your image, you don't need to worry about any of that step. If you're just going to stamp a black, bold line art image, that would look fabulous and modern too. I just thought I'd take it a step further and bring the gold into today's designs, because it's kind of magic when you're heat embossing. Makes my heart happy. Except when the cardstock warps. When this happens, I just put it in between a folded piece of copy paper and run it through my die cutting machine on a normal cutting sandwich, and that typically will flatten out the cardstock enough. You can try bending your cardstock a little bit as well, that can work, but you just don't want to crack that embossing powder. Now, I also want to add a heat emboss sentiment, so I've grabbed one of the longer sentiments out of the stamp set, and I don't want to have to worry about masking it and just using one portion of it, so I did cut it in half. You obviously don't need to do this if you're not comfortable to, but I can always put it back together to restamp if I needed to. But both of these sections of the sentiment will work independently on their own, so to me it makes sense. I'm more likely to use it in the two separate portions. And I've added the panel to the front of a side fold A2 card using some double-sided tape and an extra piece of tape in the center just to help with that warping. I thought it'd be fun to bring in a bold sentiment. I think it keeps in with the modern style card design, and because I've got the gold outline, I've got my favorite cardstock here, the brushed gold. It's just so beautiful, and layered that up. And of course I did have to pop this up and add some dimension because I just can't help myself, and added just a couple of gems. Now, if you went with a black line art image instead of the embossed, then you could use a black and white sentiment or stick with the gold if you like, but I think the black and white would look amazing, and then have some black bling instead of the gold. And I always like to make a triangle with my bling. I think that works really well. It's good having that odd number in a visual triangle. We're on to our second design now, and we're going to be doing some partial stenciling. to get our soft modern look. I want to try and fit both of these huge blooms onto one card, and spoiler alert, we do. Well, most of the flower anyway. These are the coordinating stencils that you can get for these flowers. One thing I love to do with layering stencils is only use a portion of them, because often they have like the base layer and everything to colour all the depths that you need. If you start with coloured cardstock, that coloured cardstock can be your base layer. And I really like to do this technique even with white cardstock and leave that very first layer out altogether. This makes the whole process even faster than just colouring all of the layers, because you can just pick and choose what you want. If you don't have layering stencils for your floral images, maybe you've got the simple stencils, then I would recommend just adding colour or ink blending, maybe just in the centre portion of the blooms instead of the whole flower, and that's going to give it a very different look than having all of the petals coloured. And even just starting with a coloured card base does exactly that. It just gives your image a different look. And the best thing is that you don't need a ton of colours to do this. So if you've only got a few colours, by adding less or more ink, even in the same, out of the same ink pad, you can add extra depth with layers. Or add depth with a different colour that you know will mix well, like maybe a light purple might make a pink look a bit deeper. Now, I fussy cut these flowers out. I didn't make you sit here and watch the whole process. It didn't take too long. I am a little bit out of practice, because I do like my coordinating dies, but I wanted to pop these blooms up off the card. If you're concerned about postage, then you could certainly adhere them directly to the card base, and that way they won't get damaged in transit. But I love dimension and I can't help myself. So I did come in and add a layer of scrap cardstock to the back of these flowers because I knew I was going to pop them up. But obviously if you have coordinating dies, just die cut a second image and you can adhere that behind the first original die cut one, and that's going to give you that bit of stability to pop it up on the card from. And remember, if you're not sure what your ink colours are going to look like blended on coloured cardstock, that you can always test it first on a scrap piece. And I was struggling to find the centre for these sentiments this time, so I did come in with my centering ruler, and I don't know why I don't use this more often. And I think these colours look really pretty with that ivory base. And all together now we've got our big blooms, the first one with its graphic stripes and the coloured cardstock background, and the second one with the partial stenciling. And here we used the coloured cardstock as one of the layers of colour. So it's over to you. Are you team graphic stripes, or do you prefer the softer, partially stenciled option? Let me know in the comments below. Now I've got 2 more videos here for you to enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you there. And if you did like today's video, don't forget to click on the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? It's totally free. I look forward to seeing you back here again real soon. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.